So, you want to be an artist? Well, I'm so glad you're here because today I'm going to start my video series in which I interview artists from all walks of life, all types of artists, not just $1 million artists, not just highly paid illustrators, but everyday artists who actually make a practical living doing what they love. I want to show you that you too can make a living as an artist if you so desire. That there's lots of room in the middle to make a living as an artist. The point of my video series here is not just to highlight people who are famous or already successful, but to talk to real individuals and see just what it is that inspires them and how they have been able to be successful with their work. Today's artist is artist Kristin Palmer. She so graciously offered to be my little guinea pig here on my channel. Kristin is the owner of Mystic Kristin Studios. You can find her work at mystickristinstudios.com. She has sold her artworks to collectors worldwide, had her work published and licensed by various companies for an assortment of products, and her artwork has also been published in books, magazines, and sold in galleries. Kristin is also an accomplished tattoo artist, and she has been tattooing now for 4 years. Yes, tattoo artists are cool. And today we're going to get a chance to talk to one. So without further ado, let's welcome Kristin. So welcome, Kristin, to my little show. I wanted to do this type of series just because so many times I think online, I mean, with streaming now, I think you see a little bit more of the day-to-day life of an artist, a little bit, but I feel like so much you look online and people are interviewing all these big name people and stuff. But anyway, I really appreciate you and being my first victim, so to speak.
Absolutely.
And let me try it out. What led you to the fantasy art genre, and what sort of like inspired you to kind of start being an artist in the first place?
Well, I've always been an artist ever since I like could hold a pencil. I've always been drawing. I've always been creating and crafting things and stuff. What really kind of like inspired me, I think, with like the fantasy genre, like I've always like loved fairies. I like kind of started drawing fairies like I think when I was like 12 or so. But
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it was the work of Amy Brown that
Mm-hmm.
kind of like really super inspired me to really start like getting into the fairies.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah, she's great. Like, I
yeah,
think a lot of us, I started out and we had certain artists like that really grabbed us and inspired us. And her work was different too, I feel like, because it had has more like a simplistic quality to it. So it
right,
almost makes you feel like, you know, I can do this too. As a
right,
somebody who's, other artists that paint these huge like pre-Raphaelite artists or something. Those are
yeah,
people that inspired me, but it was kind of like, how am I gonna ever be able to paint like that? I don't know. I'm still working
exactly.
towards those goals.
I feel like that's what we all kind of like ask ourselves and like say to ourselves is like, why can't I paint like that? And that's
Hmm.
when like really like finding your own style really too comes into play. Even though I still look back at like other artists, I'm just like, why can't I paint like that?
Yeah, we all have those insecurities from time to time. So you said like you've been drawing like since you could hold a pencil. Is that when you feel like you first knew you were a creative, was when you were a young child, or and did it come naturally to you, or?
Yeah, it definitely came natural to me. I was always just drawing. My mother too was an artist. We have a saying that like every time, like when she gave birth to me, like all her art talent like got sucked into me.
Uh-huh.
But she was a bit of an artist, and I just always pretty much held the pencil. I was always drawing, always painting. When I got older, I was doing the painting. Oh, finger
Yeah.
paints and stuff too, I guess you could do. Um, but yeah, and then I was just always creating. And I mean, ever since I was a kid, if you asked me like what I was going to do for a living, I would always say being an artist. So I always
Uh-huh.
knew like art was going to be my thing. Like that's the only thing I wanted to do, whether it was art or like later when I got into tattoos,
Hmm.
but it was pretty much ever since I was a kid, it was always going to be art.
When you started, like as a kid, I mean, we all start with like color crowns and stuff, but for you, like, did you
Right.
have a medium like that kind of, um, uh, opened the doors for you and you were like, wow, I really like this? Because I noticed too, and I'll bring up some of your work in a minute. Did it take you a while to discover that? What did you kind of start with, and what was the evolution?
I feel like when I was a little kid, I was definitely like crayons and like the markers. I used to sit,
Mm-hmm.
I remember, and I would either draw like animals and sharks because sharks was my favorite animal. So I would sit and like draw animals, or later on when I got into Sailor Moon, I would just sit and kind of like draw Sailor Moon like all day long. Um, it was definitely like, yeah, like I said, like markers and stuff. And then later on I started getting into the watercolors,
Mm-hmm.
obviously like the really cheap like Crayola like
Yep.
watercolors and stuff. But I always loved the watercolor. And then
Mm-hmm.
too, when I got introduced to Amy's work and it was watercolor, like I was already using watercolors, so I was just like, oh, you can do this, more with watercolor, and really started experimenting more and finding, my path and my, you know, to where I am today. I do mostly watercolor. I'll put in like some colored pencils
Mm-hmm.
and maybe some acrylics and stuff like that. So it's,
Mm-hmm.
I guess, watercolor, but still kind of like technically mixed media. Um,
That's cool. Yeah. I
yeah.
find watercolors to be like really hard for me. So to each their own. Like, I'm always marveled at when people can.
I hear that a lot from people, but I don't
Yeah.
know. I just love my watercolors. So I feel like
Well,
that's always been a thing with me ever since I was a kid, was always the watercolor.
that's interesting. Yeah, because I that's why one reason I asked the questions too. I do
Right.
feel like those kinds of things, like, do kind of have a natural, like, kind of maybe inclination towards certain media.
Right.
Some artists, it takes them a while to figure out what that is, but
Right. The media, their specialty, and yeah.
it's interesting, the journey. I mean, you mentioned your mom was a artist as well, too. I mean, I don't ever want to discourage anybody who doesn't come up from a creative family, because I think anybody, my personal belief is that anybody can learn to paint or draw if they really want to, and it
Absolutely.
just takes, time and dedication and skill. But I also
Absolutely.
think that there is maybe like a genetic component to all of that sort of thing. So,
Yeah, I feel like it's definitely both. Like you can get it,
yeah.
from the genetics, and then absolutely anybody can do
Hmm.
art. They just have to have, like you said, the dedication and to sit and learn and practice the craft. And
Yeah.
it doesn't matter what style it is, just as long as you're dedicated,
Yeah.
to learn.
So you started selling online in 2010, you said, I believe.
Yeah, about there. Yep.
So what made you take the jump to just start, just be like, I'm gonna do this?
Facebook and like meeting like all my other like artist friends, and I just really decided to take the plunge. I met another artist friend who really like encouraged me to really kind of start putting my stuff out there. So I did, and
Yeah.
started showing it, and yeah, it's worked out so far.
Yeah, that's awesome. You have to just sort of take the leap at some point, and thank goodness for the internet and social media these days, because it
Exactly.
has enabled a lot of us to go forth and sell thy works on eBay or Etsy, or even have our own websites, which I see you have as well. What inspired you to create this? She's very beautiful. I like the
Well, thank
color.
you.
I like the purple and the blue colors that you used and everything too. You have a really neat, like, clean, very clean, illustrative style.
Yeah, I actually drew that one first for a tattoo design. And then I decided I liked it too much. And then I decided I was actually going to tattoo it on myself. So I've
Hmm.
kept it. And then after that, I decided, it was going to be kind of like my logo for my website, and everything.
Yeah, she's pretty, and I like the freckles too,
Oh,
because
thank
like
you.
freckles are so in right now, right?
They are. And I think that's the first piece I've done too that actually had freckles on her.
Mm.
I don't think I've ever done freckles before, so I was just like, you know what? We need to be a little different with this one.
And so then this one is from 2020. It's a cool circus theme.
Yeah, that
Circuses
one's
are.
Jessica.
always fun, and I like her
Right.
like
Exactly.
circus, like the ringmaster with the whip. She's pretty hot.
Oh, thank you. That was actually one of the Enchanted Vision projects prompts.
Explain to me what I don't know what Enchanted Visions is.
The Enchanted Visions project was started way back. I don't even remember what year, by Amy Brown and Jessica Galbraith, where they like took a prompt and would draw like their own version of it. And then it later on became like this big thing where like all other artists like joined in and like did the same thing. So another artist had like taken over like the project, and it was just kind of like the other artists and the new girl that was kind of like taking it over.
Okay.
um
So when you say
but
prompt, is it like what is the October one, Inktober or something like that?
yeah, exactly, it was something like that, where like every month there was a different like title or prompt or something, and like every artist that like wanted to participate would kind of like draw their own version.
So you do this all this is watercolor, even like it looks like you use like gold or something.
Yep.
I don't know if you use like like
Yeah,
a
that one's
metallic
on
watercolor.
metallic watercolor. Yep.
Okay, yeah, those are fun. And here's another beautiful fairy fawn lady,
Thank you.
2019 with beautiful black roses. She's also
Thank
kind
you.
of gothy.
So this one too started out as kind of like a tattoo design, and I
Uh,
actually drew it based on a photo of myself.
mm,
So I guess it's kind of a semi like self portrait. But yeah, that started off as a tattoo design too, and me just being the artist that I am, I just I had to I had to do the painted version of it.
yeah, I like it. It's beautiful. And then
Too.
this one's cool. It's got like kind of a surrealistic quality. You should do like t-shirts or something with this one on it.
Right, I was thinking about doing that.
Hmm.
Yeah, that was inspired by a photo that I saw on Pinterest. I believe it was just like the hands kind of like floating.
Do you have a favorite painting?
Nyx is actually my personal favorite. The one with the crescent moon on her, like bouncing on her head. I don't know what about it.
This
I
one's
don't know. I just
beautiful.
love her.
Yeah, I mean, I personally, I always love painting sci-fi things. So
Yeah.
there's something about like painting nebulas and space and all that type of stuff that's really fun and cool. Her hair also reminds me like of like water, how you painted it in there. It looks like waves.
Oh, thank you.
So there's something kind of very ethereal, I guess, about it.
Yeah, kind of magical and ethereal. Yeah, I
Yeah.
definitely agree with that.
Do you have merch of this particular piece on your site?
I do
Or
have prints of her. I should probably make her into more merch because she is my favorite.
this one's pretty too. I like her.
Yeah, so this she's named Topanya, which I believe means um great horned owl
Okay.
in native. At least that's what
Okay.
I saw on
Cool.
the internet. So I don't
Uh,
know if that's completely true, but I'm partially Native American, so I always
that's
love
cool.
the Native American art and style.
I like how you incorporated the owls in there. Actually, this one has a really nice composition
Thank you.
with a nice focus on the face and stuff. I really like that one.
Thank you.
Um,
Yeah, this one has been one of my favorites too, and I usually have this as a on display in like the tattoo shop that I work
oh,
at.
nice.
He like comments on that piece a
Nice.
lot.
Let me talk to you about your tattooing. What's your like everyday, day to day art life like?
Well, day to day, it's usually just kind of like working on like my next day's tattoo design is usually like my kind of day to day, but usually like, at night after, chilling on the couch, I'll might pull out like my iPad and like do some drawing or painting, you know.
do you, do you work on commission if people want to hire you? Do you
Sometimes
accept?
sometimes I do. I've been kind of like getting away from it a little bit. I'm working on a commission now, honestly.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, I've been kind of phasing it out a little bit just because my time right now for art is limited. Because, like I said, my day to day is usually, working on my next days or this coming week's like tattoo designs.
Right, for sure. I mean, if because you're working also like as a tattoo artist, so you work every day pretty much doing tattoos for people then?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, right now it's a little bit slower, but during like the busy season, I'll pretty much be at the tattoo shop all day.
And
So
people
it's,
come to you with their ideas for designs as well, or a little
yeah,
of both. Yeah.
yeah, it's a little of both. Some people will find like their ideas on like, Pinterest or something, and sometimes it's hard to, persuade them to kind of let me do my own thing or something with it. But then, I have the clients too that are like, this is the idea, I'll roll with it, draw what you want. Yeah, I have that little bit of everything, and then I have the people that want my own like traditional artwork, my own paintings and stuff on them. So I
Yeah.
kind of get to do a little bit of of everything.
That's awesome. That keeps things
Yeah,
that keeps things interesting.
style kind of challenged and up there because I'm doing so much different types of art and
Yeah, that's
designs.
really cool. So, like along that lines too, I mean, I know you get to do a little bit of everything, but like what is your like favorite thing to paint or draw? Do you have a particular subject? I mean, obviously, we both are fantasy nerds.
Right.
And I see you also, like me, like to paint lots of beautiful fantasy women.
Yeah, absolutely.
But do you have like a particular thing, like whenever you get to paint it or tattoo it on somebody or whatever, like it's just like, yay.
Well, for tattoos, I feel like it's just the cool and unique designs that I like really like love to do. Obviously, I love to do my own custom work and my own custom designs.
Hmm.
But yeah, as long as like the design is like cool and unique, like I love doing it. But obviously, like yeah, like my favorite go to for tattoos would definitely be able, doing my own custom work.
Do you have a preference for figures, animals, etc., beasts, whatever?
Um, I don't think I really do because I really just genuinely love to like just do it all really
Yeah.
for like subject matter anyway, especially for the tattoos. But for my art, I definitely stick more obviously with the fantasy. And for me, I don't particularly have a super favorite. It's kind of whatever the broadness of like the fantasy genre is really like
It keeps it
kind of like
interesting.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
kind of keeps us how I'll do something like
Mm-hmm.
maybe super dark and gothic one day, and the next I might be painting like a rainbow fairy or something. Kind of my own kind of personal style as well
Uh-huh.
as like flower girl one day and then like goth and you know the next day.
Okay, cool. Yeah. And also, I have to backtrack a little bit. We were talking about Amy Brown, but I
Yeah,
did
for sure.
forgot to ask you, like, so obviously she's I can tell like a big inspiration for you. Are there other
Right.
artists out there that are super inspire you that you love their work of that or that you look up to?
I feel like that's like kind of like all my artist friends that I kind of like I'm friends with on Facebook and stuff that I look up to. Just seeing everybody's beautiful like art every day when I'm scrolling through my Facebook.
Hmm.
Um, but definitely as a teenager and stuff when I was first kind of starting out, it was like Amy Brown, Jessica Galbraith, Brian Froud, you
Hmm.
know, that kind of like group, and Selena. Um, yeah, kind of what I feel like those were kind of like the main like five, 4 or 5. And then like
Okay.
and then
Yeah.
once I got like on Facebook and start like I said seeing like everybody's beautiful artwork, I feel like all like my artist friends have become such an inspiration to me, and just seeing everybody's beautiful artwork and styles.
I know I love that about the whole online thing too. I'm always like looking through there, but your feed's just filled with so much cool new stuff, you know?
Right, exactly.
Hmm. I love that too. And certainly I can relate to some of those artists that inspired you as well. You know, for me, like Brian Froud was a big one, I think.
Right.
A lot of us fantasy artists love his work, you know.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of us fantasy artists are kind of inspired by at least like one or two of the same, artists here and there.
When exactly did you get into like the whole tattoo work? And
Um,
what helped, like what pushed you in that direction?
well, I've been a tattoo artist now for 4 years. Um, I was working with an actor friend of mine. We were doing an art project together, And
Mm-hmm.
during the time of working on that art project together, we became really good friends, and he knew how much I wanted to become a tattoo artist and get into tattoos.
Mm-hmm.
And he encouraged me at that point to go and like find an apprenticeship and stuff. I had always been into tattoos ever since I was a teenager. I got my first tattoo when I was 17. And actually, when I was 18, I had originally had an apprenticeship, but
Oh.
like the guy didn't really direct me like too
Mm.
much. So I kind of just, and that was about the time when I actually started um, selling my own artwork and stuff online. So I just kind of went that direction for a little
Mm.
while. And then, the 4 years ago when he was, he encouraged me and pushed me to, find an apprenticeship. So I went out and I did this time. And yeah, I've loved it. It's it's been my dream come true because art's always been my thing. So it was either always going to be art, and when I got into tattoos, it was either going to be art or tattoos or both.
Well, art, I mean, tattooing is an art, so
Exactly.
in my view, it totally counts.
It
And in
absolutely
my
does.
view, the best tattoo artists are, they do their own work
Actual artists.
and
Yep.
all that type of stuff too.
Exactly.
So like, how hard is I don't know anything about it. Like, how hard is it to get into tattooing, and do you have to go to school? Like, what's involved if somebody wants to
So,
embark on that path?
right. So if you want to become a tattoo artist, what you do is you go out and you find an apprenticeship, which
Mm-hmm.
is you take a portfolio of your art, you go, find a tattoo shop, preferably one that like you go and actually get tattooed at, that you actually have a relationship with. But
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you have to go around to different tattoo shops, do what you have to do. But you put together a portfolio, go to the tattoo shops, find an apprenticeship. It
Okay.
can be a little hard to find a shop that will take you on as an apprentice just because of how kind of labor intensive, and you have to find, an artist that's also willing to teach. And
Mm-hmm.
you also have to be able to find an artist that's actually willing to teach you properly. Because
Mm-hmm.
I've so many horror stories about like apprenticeships and stuff. But once you find like, the proper shop, you're gonna have a good time. But that's you don't go to school for it. Your apprenticeship is basically how you learn. So after you'll have to do like cleaning and stuff, doing that
Mm-hmm.
kind of stuff as they also teach you.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah, and then once they think you're ready, they'll instruct you to go to the health department, and then that's where you'll take a test and you'll get your license.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So basically, all tattooists they just learn through apprenticeships, which I had no idea. That's news to me. I know nothing about what it takes to
I
be
mean,
a
it's definitely
tattooist. Still have to go get registered though to in order and licensed in order to practice because it is a health
exactly.
thing. You're dealing with
Exactly.
people's bodies and
Yeah, you're basically doing a medical procedure. You're dealing with blood and plasma and, people's
interesting.
bodily fluids. People could pass out. You have to kind of know what to do there,
Mm-hmm.
medically, what to do. My actual first day in the tattoo shop on my apprenticeship, I witnessed somebody have a seizure and pass out.
Oh my gosh, that must have been so scary. But I mean,
It
here you
really
are.
was. It was
You're able
so
to handle
daunting.
it.
I'm like, it was
Yeah.
it was daunting being like my first day and seeing this. I'm like, oh my god, does this happen all the time? They're like, no, 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 it doesn't really.
We promise. And you're like,
Right.
reconsidering my profession.
Exactly.
Do you have any advice for people who want to get into like tattooing or and also selling their art online like you do?
Yeah. I mean, for tattoos, it would definitely be if you're interested in being a tattoo artist. If you don't already draw, um, or kind of just starting out maybe with drawing, I would say, sit and just draw, really. Just draw some tattoo designs. Even if you are an artist and you want to get into like tattoos, I would say start drawing other people's ideas, drawing, kind of more tattoo stuff, because it's not always what you want to draw. Obviously, sometimes it's somebody else's idea you have to draw.
Right.
Um,
Exactly.
yeah.
And that can
And
be
then
or you might have to copy, like, I mean, I don't know, maybe you could talk a little bit about that too, but
Yeah, for
like
sure.
regarding like having to draw other people's things. So, I mean, how do you guys have issues if somebody comes to you and wants like a Disney character or something? Do you have to worry
Um,
about legal repercussions there?
for like the fandom stuff, you don't really have to. I mean, it's kind of like the same with kind of like the fan art, I guess, how it's that kind of like gray area. But for tattoos, I feel like it's a little bit different because it's on your body. But
Mhm.
so we don't really have to worry about anything like that. It, the issue would kind of be doing somebody else's tattoo, like taking somebody else's already either tattoo that's on their body and
Yeah.
like some, which is a lot of what people do nowadays, honestly, is they'll show you like a Pinterest, like a tattoo they got from Pinterest or something like that.
Hmm.
And you kind of just have to try to make it your own or talk them into, doing your own thing. People don't have like a problem with it saying like, oh no, can I like kind of do my own thing with it? And we'll usually not have a problem. But some people are like, no, I want it exactly like this. So it's kind of that gray area on, do you do the tattoo? Do you kind of, yeah,
I mean, who's gonna
but
know too, I guess? Like Disney
yeah.
can't possibly keep track of all the Donald Duck tattoos there are out there on people's bodies in the world or whatever.
Right.
You know, for me it's always nice when people come to me and they're like, you know, I don't do tattoos, but they want me to draw them their own unique thing. So,
Yeah,
I
I
appreciate
definitely,
that.
right. Yeah, I definitely had a lot of that before I actually became a tattoo artist, is people just knowing that I'm an artist and like
Yeah.
tattoos always come to me and be like, oh, can you draw my tattoo? I'll be like, yeah,
Mhm.
sure.
Mhm.
Now I just do it for a living.
Now you get the best of both
More, at
worlds.
least more so.
Yeah. Best of both worlds. Um,
Exactly.
yeah, so about like, do you have advice then, since I interrupted you, for people who want us to start selling their work online, and how to get started?
Yeah, I would say like definitely just take the plunge and start doing it. Like you don't have to get super fancy with your prints. You can go to Staples when you're first starting out and get, prints. I mean, Staples does pretty good job with their prints. So if you're just starting out selling, I would say go somewhere like Staples maybe and get some prints and sell them. Um, Definitely just like put yourself out there. Don't be afraid to put yourself out there and post your stuff. Something I have to actually do more of, which is actually my advice, is do more like local shows and like cons and stuff. Done a few gallery shows, which was really fun to do. Um, but yeah, definitely just don't be afraid of like rejection, because like it's gonna happen, but you just gotta know that it's gonna happen and just move on to the next. So just, put yourself out there, send your art to galleries, just, apply for, again, it's a little hard now, but for the cons and the shows and everything like that, and just really,
Mhm.
yeah, really put yourself out there. I would say definitely like learn marketing, even if it's just like trying to YouTube it, definitely learn like marketing skills and how to really like self promote yourself, because I feel like that's also like one of the things that I hate doing the most, is that self promotion. I always feel like I'm pushing too much, but like, you know, I would say definitely like learn the marketing
Yeah,
too.
for sure. Because, you know, as artists, and I'll probably end up saying that a lot through these interviews, but we kind of have to be a little bit of our own everything. We don't
Exactly.
have, you know, you don't really have the luxury, um, to get to the, you know, till you get to a certain point at least, to hire, you know, somebody to help you with all these various things like posting on social media or, you know,
Exactly.
that kind of marketing stuff. So you
Yeah.
really kind of do have to do a lot of it yourself.
Yeah,
So
you
be
do.
prepared for that.
Yeah,
People
I
out
feel like a
there
lot
who
of
want
people don't
to do
understand that.
art.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people don't understand just how much like we are doing ourselves. Like we, even like me as a tattoo artist too, you're promoting yourself, you're answering your own emails, you still have to do the art and do the drawings and stuff like that. You have to usually you're making your own merchandise, so you
Mm-hmm.
got to be on top of that. You're shipping your own stuff, taking care of all the business side, the marketing side, plus the art and creative side. So really, like, one person is doing, the job of like 20 different people.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like a lot of people don't quite understand, like, that's like we're really doing it all.
Yeah, and that's I think a huge part of what it takes to get your art out there and be successful in today's world and market. I mean, you have to be willing to be your own boss and your own, be an entrepreneur and like you said, do all those things at least for a
Yeah.
while till you get to a certain point.
That's where too, like, the don't be afraid to like put yourself out there
Mhm.
too comes into. And if those few different ways, you can't, you got to put your art out there, plus you have to put yourself too out there.
Yeah, I mean, it's really important. So this looks like a pretty cool one. Do you remember what this one? It's hard to tell exactly what it was of, but
Yeah, this is actually on my sister, and we're working on a cover up. She has a
okay,
existing tattoo there she wanted to cover, so we're doing this like Native American skull on
okay,
her.
cool.
It took like probably about 5 sessions with all those feathers.
Yeah, it looks like there's quite a few like feathery details and stuff.
Yeah,
Um,
that's what I was working on, like in the photo, is lining some of the feathers.
so you have to do each one of those in like a separate sitting.
Um, it was depending on like how long she could sit for. She really only sat for like maybe an hour or two for each sitting.
Uh-huh.
Um, but usually I'll do some, like, for bigger pieces, it will depend on like how many sittings it will need. Some smaller things obviously can be done in just one sitting. Some of
Yeah,
the large pieces will do like line work one session, or line work in black and gray, and like color.
yeah. I think the colored ones I would think would take longer, like a lot
Yeah, the
longer.
different, yep, the colored tattoos definitely take the longest, because obviously it's, you know, kind of like
Yeah,
painting. Obviously there's the blending, and there's those more steps to get the
yeah,
color.
for sure. This is a cool one with the skull and the memento mori and stuff on
Yeah,
there.
so
I like that one.
thank you. So this was a design that he came up with, and
Yeah, I like it.
kind of just let me do my own thing with it.
Cool. So you kind of just helped him realize his vision there. This is kind of more of a commissioned piece.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he kind of just gave me his idea, and I rolled with it and drew it up, and then he came in and we tattooed it, and yeah, he loves it.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
I like that kind of stuff, like the dark, creepy stuff too, and the death with the flower, and that's very you. I see all these roses and flowers
Yeah.
in the work that you sent over.
You can go wrong with
Like
flowers.
a signature.
Right. And this
Mm.
was a memorial for her husband, I believe, that had passed away.
Oh,
Yeah, so I definitely just kept,
beautiful.
did what she wanted for it, for sure, for that one. We tried.
I can see like the signature way, like you're doing your roses and stuff.
Well, thank you. Yeah. I definitely, like, if somebody brings me a design that's like obviously like from Pinterest, or like somebody else's tattoo or something, I definitely try to like redraw it in at least my own style.
Yeah, it's really showing through because I think
Thank
like
you.
a lot of people just they just take stuff one to one also. So I
Exactly.
think it's nice when the artist style or like filter shows through. Then you can kind of see the artist's hand in the work that's being created.
Exactly. Thank you. Yeah, this is a big stomach piece. He brought in like the kind of like the gargoyle. It was kind of a half image,
Hmm.
and I kind of had to like change it around and draw like the other like side of it. So I had to make it like fit his actual like stomach
Hmm.
from like the partial design that he brought in.
Hmm.
But yeah, this was a lot of lines, but it was one of the funnest, I think, tattoos I've gotten to do. It was just so unique and so cool to do.
Yeah, it looks like a really cool one. It's got kind of a heraldic kind of feel to it, because of the gargoyle,
Exactly.
but then also because of like the swirls and everything. coming
Right.
up, and then these other birds. I'm assuming they're like they look like hummingbirds to me.
Yeah, I think they were something like hummingbirds or yeah, something like that.
Really cool idea. This is pretty. I love the color.
Well, thank you.
Love
This is
that.
actually a cover up that I did.
Really?
I probably didn't send the before, but yeah,
Mhm.
there was a pre-existing tattoo under there somewhere.
Wow, that's impressive. I'm always amazed at when I see tattoo work that people are like, "Ah, I put my lover's name on my arm and we broke up and I hate it now. I hate
Yeah, like,
him and I hate my tattoo." And
yeah,
then they cover it
yeah.
up
That's
and
why.
put like cool skulls or something on top of it. And I'm like, how the heck do they
Yeah,
do
and
that?
I try to like persuade people not to do lovers' names and stuff, but yeah, I love
Don't do
doing
it.
cover up. Exactly. I wouldn't suggest putting a name on you, but to each their own. Sometimes, cover ups can be challenging, but I honestly love to do them because it is a challenge.
Mhm.
Taking something that somebody hates and despises and turning it into something they absolutely love and they want to show off.
I
I
really
love,
like the like watercolory, since you are a watercolorist.
right?
You kind of incorporated the like watercolory paint splatters.
Well, thank you. I always feel like it kind of finishes a design off
Yeah,
better. Yeah, I love doing the little color splashes.
it's
That's
unique.
probably definitely a signature like thing in some of my work is the little like splashes.
I love it.
As long as the person wants it, of course. I always ask
Super
them, like, is
artsy,
it
you
okay?
know.
Right?
Artsy fartsy.
Exactly. I love being artsy fartsy.
I love being artsy fartsy too.
Right. Yeah. So this is kind of like a illustrative, like watercolor style lion in the
Mm.
flowers. So nothing like super realistic, but I love just like the watercolor feel to it.
No, I like that too, and I like how also the eye of the lion is like in the center of the flower here.
Right.
Looks really cool. I don't know if they choose the colors or probably
I
they'll have
usually
some
let,
input, but
unless maybe it's a color decision that I don't agree on, and then maybe I'll try to persuade them like into a different color. But I usually let them pick, and we're usually like on the same page of like what colors like things should be. So there's usually not too much worry
that sounds
there.
pretty too. I love phoenixes and like again, I love the watercolor splashes.
Yeah, I
think
feel like
those
my
look so
color
cool.
style is always kind of like that watercolor style. Yeah, that's definitely one of my favorites that I've done. Just how like the phoenix pops with the blue and the purple background.
How many sittings did something like this take you?
That actually just took one.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, I think it was about 4 hours or so.
That's not too bad at all.
Yeah, no, not usually. I'm usually pretty like quick and efficient.
And
And
what
see the
is your
bar.
Instagram, by the way? I can
Yeah, my
pop it in the video edit.
right. So for my tattoos, it's Mystic Kristin Tattoos, and then for
Okay.
my art, it's Mystic Kristin Studios.
Okay.
And then I also have just like a personal one where I kind of post kind of whatever I want to, and that's Mystic Kristin.
Okay. Great. You're much more organized than I am. I just have one where I upload everything and then people look at it and they're like, there's a bunch of pictures of you here on Instagram. Where's all your artwork? And I'm like, well, I don't know.
Yeah, my personal one's just like where I'll post like art and tattoos and just like selfies and cats and just kind of like whatever, a little bit of everything. Yeah,
but yeah, it's hard to be organized. I don't know if that's an artist thing also, but a lot of artists I know we're all usually, I mean, there's some that are very, very well organized and every pin is in its place or whatnot. But there's others like me who just, I feel like I don't have an organizational bone in my body. I don't know. I try.
Right. All you can do is try. I try too. Like usually like when I'm clean, like when everything's clean and I'm not like painting, things are like neat and organized. But then when I'm actually painting, everything's like a disaster.
Yep. Well, I always say if your desk is not messy, you're not doing enough work.
Exactly. Paintbrushes rolling out on the floor, paint just scattered everywhere.
Yep. Pretty much.
Mess when I'm
You should have seen my studio after I streamed oil painting the other day. It was like I had paper towels everywhere. So I was just like chucking them in the corner because I didn't want to stop to like get up and go to the trash can and
Right,
do
to
that
throw 'em
while
away.
I'm streaming. And so
Right? Like I would do the same thing, just throw it to the side. No one can see, no one will know.
but they'll know now.
Like, yeah, you can't let your
Because I just
secret out now.
secret. I'm a slobby artist. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, this is a custom Aries fairy that she wanted. So everything she gave me free reign with it. I could do whatever I wanted. Her only
Hmm.
thing wanted an Aries and she wanted her like playing with fire.
Oh,
And
cool.
she didn't want her looking like a warrior because so many like Aries, it's fire and war and stuff. So, she didn't most Arieses and stuff are usually like drawn like warrior girls and stuff, but she
Mm.
didn't want that.
Yeah, she
So
looks more serene and kind of peaceful or
exactly,
thoughtful, which is nice.
exactly. So me being an Aries myself, I was like, all right, I got you. I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, I drew that up. And then the line work for that is actually in my coloring book.
Hmm.
And I changed her up a little bit and made her into a fire fairy, and I did a painted version of her
Oh,
as well.
okay.
I
Cool.
cleared it with the client though to make sure,
And they,
she was okay with it. And she was just like, why would I care? You drew
yeah.
it. Go. I was just like, well, it's on your body and it's your idea. So want to double check with
You never know. I always ask to with commission work, even though like I have rights to it.
right?
I like
It's
to
always
ask.
just nice to be polite and ask.
Let's see. I was gonna ask you too, like how much do you charge for something like this?
So I think total altogether, I think that was about, I think 800 or so. But I charge, usually it's
Sorry.
125 an hour. Oh no, you're fine. I charge usually 125 an hour, and my minimum is usually is 80.
Okay.
Usually I'll do like the hourly for like the bigger pieces. For smaller pieces, I'll usually just price by piece. Like I said, I think total, I think that was something like 800 or so. I can't quite remember.
Yeah. And about this one too, again, like how long do you think you spent like on that?
This was 2 sessions. I think the first session was around I think they were about 4 hours each for each
Nice.
session.
And it doesn't really take that long, but obviously this isn't one's a little bit bigger than the Phoenix that we looked at a little while
Right.
back, and it's
Exactly.
more detailed. Um,
Exactly.
and then you got the cool. I'm gonna zoom in a little bit more on this here
Yeah,
too.
of course.
It's got the cool like watercolor effect and stuff
Yeah,
going on and
I
everything.
wanted to throw a little bit of a background in on her, and obviously I didn't want to do red again because I didn't want it to be so overwhelmed with red.
Mm-hmm.
So I love like contrasting pieces. So that's why I decided to do the blue in the background to really like contrast and pop out. I mean, like the hottest part of like a flame too is blue anyway, so it works.
That's true. It's very true. Science, guys. Science. What is your most common like tattoo request that you get?
Oh geez. I feel like I definitely like when I first started, I had that influx of infinity signs
Mm-hmm.
that people wanted, but that's thankfully phased out and I haven't done an infinity sign in a while. I don't know. I feel like I don't get anything that really like super often.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I definitely have some people that will show me kind of like different like Pinterest stuff. Like I've seen kind of like the same Pinterest design a few times, but sometimes we'll ultimately do something different or I'll custom like draw something. Um Besides like the themes, like I've done Medusa a lot for
Uh-huh.
themes. I've done quite a few different like elephant pieces. Those
Okay.
have been popular. Lions are usually popular. Roses is something super popular
You do a
that
lot
like
of skulls.
yeah, and skulls and roses
Skulls.
is something. Yeah, if you want to be a tattoo artist, spend your time drawing roses because you will definitely draw a lot of roses.
Roses
No
and
bad,
skulls.
it's not a bad thing though. Not
Yeah,
that.
well, that's what we need to know is like, what do we need to practice if we're getting into tattoo art over here?
Right.
So roses is, that's a good tip.
Yeah,
I would
absolutely.
think flowers would be pretty popular, but I could be wrong.
Exactly. Flowers in general, for sure, are super popular.
What's the weirdest one that you've ever?
Ooh,
The weirdest tattoo
weird.
that that anybody's ever come into your shop and it's been like, hey, I want this here, and then you're like, what? And let's keep it clean because maybe somebody had another part that that
Right.
they wanted tattooed that maybe you tattooed, and you could say yes, I've maybe tattooed those kinds of parts, but other than that, like the weirdest subject matter and maybe the weirdest placement too.
Weirdest placement for a tattoo that I've done, or maybe the most unique, was like on like a girl's, like, I'm trying to keep it clean, but
Yeah.
the boob area. It's like right,
Yeah.
like under her nipple,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, you can say nipple.
yeah, all right.
They're not
Yeah,
gonna
so it was
YouTube's
like,
not gonna get on me for that, but
just making sure. Not sure
and
what.
they do nipples for breast cancer survivors.
Yeah, but it was like, that was like kind of like the weirdest kind of placement I guess I've done, besides
Yeah.
like in the ear. That was
In the
kind of
ear?
like the weird
Okay.
place. Um, weirdest design. I can't think of weirdest design, but like the weirdest as in coolest kind of design was like, or the most unique was like, this guy wanted like a shaman bear. So it was a bear dressed like as a shaman, like standing up, like drumming and stuff, which was like super cool. And I had so much fun on that.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. That sounds awesome.
Yeah, it was really cool.
What's
But
the
I can't think of like,
smallest? Like, have you ever like done like a teeny weeny? Like this
yeah, so like
somewhere? You
the
mentioned the ears,
smallest.
so it made me think.
Yeah, the ears are definitely, you have to obviously be super small with that, but I feel like the smallest one I've done would probably be like a semicolon.
Biggest one, like have you ever done like a whole body or was it just like a backside or I don't know.
Yeah, I've done a few back pieces. I'm actually currently working on a couple of back pieces right now.
Mhm.
Um, I've been working on a leg sleeve for one of my clients that we're like still in the very beginning stages of.
Okay, cool.
I've done like full sleeves. Yeah.
That sounds
I
awesome.
haven't done like a full entire body yet, but
Advise somebody who comes to you though, and as I'm sure people do come to you because it's so in fashion, and they're like, "Hey, I want to get a tattoo. This is so cool, but I just really don't know what I want." What do you tell them?
well, I definitely have had a lot of people like come to me and I'll ask like, "Oh, what do you want?" And they're like, "Oh, I don't know, you choose." I'm like, "Oh, well, I kind of can't choose for you because like I don't really know you." So like then I'll kind of like ask for like maybe a theme of kind of like what they want to go for, or maybe what some of their likes are, or maybe then I'll advise them to maybe go to Pinterest or Google or something and maybe Google some tattoos that they like and kind of show me, and we can kind of talk about like what they like from each one and kind of like be able to sit and then kind of customize a piece together. And but then sometimes you'll have the people that are just like, "Oh, I don't know," and then just like leave it at that. It's just like, "Oh, okay." But you
That's
do get
why
the people
I
that will
figured
actually,
you'd have gotten that question, so I was just wondering how you handle that.
yeah, I'll usually try to sit them down and like have them send me, like I said, like pictures and stuff, or
Uh-huh.
kind of try to pull out some sort of idea from their brain. Sometimes like once you start asking them questions, then they'll kind of like start kind of figuring out what they want, or then them themselves will just kind of go to Pinterest or somewhere and like, all right, something like this I like.
Yeah. I mean, I think sometimes it takes like you need to find like that personal meaning to you, what you
Yeah, of
would want.
course. Yeah, there's some people that will do personal meaning or won't get anything unless it has some sort of personal meaning for them. And then you have the other people that are just like, tattoo a taco on me because I like tacos. And it's just like, okay, cool. Yeah, like I said, I get a mix of kind of everything, of just people that know what they want, people that don't know what they want,
I also wanted to ask you what your biggest challenge tattoo artist is.
Oh, geez. I feel like it's balancing everything. Just because, like I said, like busy season, like I can be at the tattoo shop like every day, like all
Hmm.
day. And that
Hmm.
can be 3 to 4, maybe tattoos a day. And
Hmm.
that's, I mean, yeah, it sounds great until you sit down and think, well, that's about like however many tattoos you have to draw now for this, coming week. So sometimes it's like balancing kind of like home life with like work life and art and like creating. And then plus actually having relaxation and like me time.
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, I feel like that's pretty much my only kind of biggest struggle and challenge is just kind of balancing everything.
for
Like,
sure. I mean,
with
that's got to be hard to like try to keep everything, like all your daily tasks and everything together.
um, I mean, I definitely try to keep like a to-do list. I try to like do like the art and stuff like later on at night when I'm kind of like chilling, like drawing
Hmm.
like tattoo designs. If we're sitting in like me and my boyfriend, if we're sitting like watching a movie, I like sit and like draw up like my tattoo designs. Um, I kind of just break up my day at least.
Uh-huh.
I try to at least break up my day from like morning time will be like house stuff to get done, afternoon will be like work,
Yep.
and then later on it's maybe just a
Hmm.
little relaxed time, do whatever, maybe like Facebook stuff if I have to answer messages or.
Hmm.
I kind of try to do it that way. It works usually.
Yeah, I mean, again, that goes back to like being tips for people who want to be artists. I think too is you kind of have to have some sort of a schedule. It's good to hear from other artists. Like, what do they do to stay organized? And you mentioned that you had a TikTok of 30K
I,
followers.
I
What
did.
what what sort of thing did you put on TikTok that got that banned?
Uh, it was a painting.
Of?
It was a painting. So I painted a little witch, and like she was sitting in a pumpkin, like she's naked, but like all you can see is like half a boob,
Uh-huh.
and that's what got it taken down was that boob in a painting.
It was the nip, huh?
Yeah, it was the nipple in a painting.
Oh man.
It was like I was super excited to show it. It was just like a progress video, like
Oh
me
man.
drawing.
I'm gonna have to be
Painting.
careful on there.
Yeah, and then it was like the finished reveal, and within like 2 minutes of me posting it, my account was banned. I tried like appealing it. I've tried reaching out, and nothing
Oh,
has worked.
geez.
I'm like, are you serious?
Well, when I
I'm just
first started posting on there, I did post my one of my mermaids, and she's naked, but it just didn't let me post it. It was like
yeah.
this violates content. So I guess it's
Yeah.
good because I would have gotten banned like the first post I ever made on TikTok.
I don't know why they do that. It's like I didn't have to post the painting. I'm like, you took away my 30K following for one
For
painting.
a nipple.
And it's like a yeah, for a nipple. Just a smudge of like paint on.
Mm.
It's
It
so
resembled
stupid.
the that resembled the female nipple.
Exactly. When I'm scrolling through TikTok and I see this sculpture made out of tiny like
I know.
it was tiny like vaginas, I'm just like that can stay on, but my painting with a nipple
I've
can't.
seen some pretty sensual TikToks too, and I'm like, this is
Yeah,
allowed. Okay,
exactly.
this is
So it's like
allowed, but painted nipples are not. And the people who follow me will know that I have a stance on this whole censorship about nipples.
yeah, I don't believe in censoring my art, and like I never had a problem usually with my artwork anyway
Yep.
on
Hmm.
Facebook or anything, so I didn't think anything of it, and I
Yeah.
posted it, got taken down, and my whole account got taken down. I'm like, wait, what?
Oh
I'm
my
just like, I
oh my
should.
goodness. Well, I'm so sorry, and I hope people will head over to your TikTok and give you a follow because your TikTok is really fun. Why don't you tell everybody what your TikTok address is? Uh,
Yeah, my new TikTok is Mystic Kristin Studios.
okay.
Try to keep it fun. I kind of post
And
everything cats and art and me and tattoos and
Yeah, super fun.
Yeah,
So I wanted to share your website really quick, which is it mystickristinstudios.com?
it is.
And people can come over here and commission you for stuff, or
They sure can.
come like see you for a tattoo if they're in your area.
Yeah. On my website, you can see all my tattoo work, all my artwork. There's email and everything. You can message me if you want to book an appointment. For sure, there's information on how you can go about booking an appointment. And
We
like
have
I
some
said, you
cool
can.
dark gothy pieces you didn't even send to me. Super
I know
fun.
sometimes I have to pace myself because I'm usually drawn to drawing the dark stuff. I'm like, I gotta throw like some sort of
This one's beautiful
brightness
too.
Thank you.
You don't got to throw any brightness in there. I mean, people would probably look at my work and be like, she just likes bright stuff, but I don't really. I mean, I like bright colors is the issue. I get too excited over blue and yellow, or red or whatever, and everything else goes out the window, and I'm just like, wee, color. So a lot of my work has a lot of saturation to it.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I love that.
I can't help myself. These are nice pieces. Like they would make great. I don't know what you have for sale on here on your website. I haven't looked, but they'd make great cards.
I want to get into like more t-shirts and stuff for sure. I have a lot of stuff on like Redbubble for like merchandise that I make myself and sell. I have like
awesome.
stickers, bookmarks, and prints, and
so people can also check that out if they're interested in your work. And you've even done like portraits and stuff too, huh?
I do, yeah.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, I love doing portraits. That's actually my niece.
Aw, she looks like a little fairy.
She does.
That's adorable. That's a funny one. Good expression.
Yeah, that's the whole reason why I wanted to draw that one, was to challenge myself with that facial expression.
Yeah. And I like aliens and sci-fi.
Yeah, I gotta draw some more.
Babes are always awesome.
Right? You can't go wrong with pinup.
This is another one that would be great on like a shirt or something.
Yeah.
Just saying. I don't know. My brain is in t-shirt land right now. I'm getting ready to design some more t-shirts myself. So
right.
Those are all fun. I mean, I love t-shirts. I don't think, I know people who have whole drawers full of t-shirts.
Oh, me too. I have so many t-shirts, I had to start making them into some quilts.
Yeah, that's a good idea. That's a great idea. Take art t-shirts, guys, to all the creative, crafty people out there. Exactly. I want to see people taking art t-shirts, fantasy art t-shirts, buy them and make them into quilts.
Exactly.
It would look awesome. So,
like if you have too many that you can't wear, make it functional.
For sure. Through and see what you've done and get what they want.
Exactly.
Awesome.
Make sure they like my work before they book an appointment.
Yeah, awesome. Well, I hope that you stay creative, and I'll continue to follow you on Tick Toks and the face looks and everything. Kristin, well, it was great talking with you, and I hope you have a great day. And
absolutely, you too.
Keep creating.
Absolutely.
All right.